The economy of Taiwan is the fifth largest economy in Asia, and is included in the Advanced Economies Group by the International Monetary Fund. Has a developed capitalist economy that ranks as the 19th largest in the world by purchasing power parity. Ranks as 18th in the world by gross domestic product at purchasing power parity per capita, and 24th in nominal GDP of investment and foreign trade by the Republic of China government, commonly referred to as Taiwan. The economy of Taiwan ranks the highest in Asia for 2015 Global Entrepreneurship Index for specific strengths. Most large government-owned banks and industrial firms have been privatized. Exports have grown even faster and since World War II, have provided the primary impetus for industrialization. Inflation and unemployment are low, the trade surplus is substantial, and foreign reserves are the world's fourth largest. Agriculture contributes 3% to GDP, down from 35% in 1952, and the service sector makes up 73% of the economy. Traditional labor-intensive industries are steadily being moved offshore and replaced with more capital and technology-intensive industries. Economy of Taiwan is an indispensable partner in the global value chains of electronics industry. Electronic components and personal computer are two areas of international strength of Taiwan's information technology industry. Institute for Information Industry, with its international recognitions, is responsible for the development of IT industry and ICT industry in Taiwan. Industrial Technology Research Institute, with its global partners, is the Advanced Research Center for Applied Technology for the economy of Taiwan. Tsinghua Institution for Economic Research provides economic forecast at the forefront for the economy of Taiwan and authoritatively researches on the bilateral economic relations with ASEAN by the Taiwan ASEAN Studies Center. Taiwan Stock Exchange is the host to the listed companies of local industries in Taiwan with weighted financial exposures to the FTSE Taiwan Index and MSCI Taiwan Index. International trade is officially assisted by Taiwan External Trade Development Council. Taiwanese investors and businesses have become major investors in mainland China, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Malaysia. Because of the conservative and stable financial policy by the Central Bank of the Republic of China and the entrepreneurial strength, Taiwan suffered little from the financial crisis of 1997 to 1999 compared to many economies in the region. Other two major banks in Taiwan are Bank of Taiwan and Mega International Commercial Bank. Unlike the neighboring Japan and South Korea, small and medium-sized businesses make up a significant proportion of the businesses in Taiwan. Taiwan is characterized as one of the newly industrialized economy in the wake of the 10 major construction projects since 1970s. Since 1990s, the economy of Taiwan has adopted economic liberalization with the successive regulatory reforms. London Metal Exchange, the largest metal stock exchange in the world, approved Kaohsiung, Taiwan as a good delivery point for primary aluminium, aluminium alloy, copper, lead, nickel, tin and zinc, and as the LME's 9th location in Asia on 17 June 2013. For future contracts on metals and industrial production of the global integration of the economy of Taiwan. The economy of Taiwan has the world's highest modern convenience store concentration density. The indirect tax system of the economy of Taiwan comprises gross business receipts tax and value-added tax. The economy of Taiwan is ranked 15th overall in the global top 20 top destination cities by international overnight visitors by the MasterCard 2014 Global Destination Cities Index. Bubble tea originated in Taiwan. Taiwan is a member of the Asian Development Bank, the World Trade Organization, and the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation. Taiwan is also an observer at the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development under the name of Chinese Taipei. Taiwan is a member of International Chamber of Commerce as Chinese Taipei. The economy of Taiwan signed Economic Cooperation Framework Agreement with the Economy of People's Republic of China on 29 June 2010. The economy of Taiwan also signed Free Trade Pact with the economy of Singapore and the economy of New Zealand. Taiwan is seeking to join the Trans-Pacific Partnership no later than 2020 if economic requirements are met. The economy of Taiwan also applied for the membership in the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank in 2015. Taiwan's top 5 trade partners in 2010 are China, Japan, USA, the European Union and Hong Kong. The economy of Taiwan, compared with other major economies in the region, is at a crossroad and facing economic marginalization in the world economy, in addition to deinternationalization, low-paid salary to employees and uncertain outlook for personal promotion of staff, which results in human resource talents seeking career opportunities elsewhere in the Asia-Pacific region, and businesses in Taiwan suffer most from being the size of small and medium enterprises only with weaker than expected revenue of its hectic business operation for any consideration of further expansion, and overall impedes any attempt at economic transformation of the economy of Taiwan from the Taiwan government. The World Trade Organization has also reviewed Chinese Taipei's economic outlook in 2010. The International Industrial Forecast of Semiconductor Manufacturing, which is the flagship industry of the economy of Taiwan, that possesses immense competitions ahead with the American counterparts. To conclude, facing the market failure from externality, the Taiwan government needs well-thought industrial policy urgently to adapt to the new economic landscape, and as an island economy with lack of natural resources and comparatively lower domestic demand in aggregate terms, Taiwan's highly educated human resources would contribute greatly to value-added innovation management for expanding Taiwan's international trade. History. Taiwan has transformed itself from a recipient of U.S. aid in the 1950s and early 1960s to an aid donor and major foreign investor, with investments primarily centered in Asia. Private Taiwanese investment in mainland China is estimated to total in excess of $150 billion. And official tallies cite Taiwan as having invested a comparable amount in Southeast Asia. Taiwan has historically benefited from the flight of many well-educated, wealthy Chinese to settle on the island. During early Qing dynasty, the preceding Ming dynasty supporters survived for a brief period of time in exile in Taiwan, and in 1949, as the Chinese Communist Party gained control of mainland China, 2 million Kuomintang supporters fled to the island. The first step towards industrialization was land reforms, a crucial step in modernizing the economy, as it created a class of landowners with capital they can invest in future economic endeavors. U.S. aid was also important to stabilize post-war Taiwan, and it constituted more than 30% of domestic investment from 1951 to 1962. The economy shifted from an agriculture-based economy to an industry-oriented economy. Between 1952 and 1961, the economy grew by an average of 9.21% each year. Once again, the transformation of Taiwan's economy cannot be understood without reference to the larger geopolitical framework. Although aid was cut back in the 1970s, it was crucial in the formative years, spurring industrialization and security, and economic links were maintained. Uncertainty about the U.S. commitment accelerated the country's shift from subsidized import substitution in the 1950s to export-led growth. Development of foreign trade and exports helped absorb excess labor from the decreased importance of agriculture in the economy. Like Korea, Taiwan moved from cheap, labor-intensive manufactures, such as textiles and toys, into an expansion of heavy industry and infrastructure in the 1970s, and then to advanced electronics in the subsequent decade. By the 1980s, the economy was becoming increasingly open and the government moved towards privatization of government enterprises. Technological development led to the establishment of the Hsinchu Science Park in 1981. Investments in mainland China spurred cross-strait trade, decreasing Taiwan's dependence on the United States market. From 1981 to 1995, the economy grew at an annual rate of 7.52%, and the service sector became the largest sector at 51.67%. Surpassing the industrial sector and becoming a major source of the economy's growth. Economic outlook. Taiwan now faces many of the same economic issues as other developed economies, with the prospect of continued relocation of labor-intensive industries to economies with cheaper workforces, such as in mainland China and Vietnam. Taiwan's future development will have to rely on further transformation to a high-technology and service-oriented economy. In recent years, Taiwan has successfully diversified its trade markets, cutting its share of exports to the United States from 49% in 1984 to 20% in 2002. Taiwan's dependence on the United States should continue to decrease as its exports to Southeast Asia and mainland China grow and its efforts to develop European markets produce results. Taiwan's accession to the WTO and its desire to become an Asia-Pacific regional operations center are spurring further economic liberalization. Global financial crisis. Taiwan has recovered quickly from the global financial crisis of 2007 to 2010, and its economy has been growing steadily. Its economy faced a downturn in 2009 due to a heavy reliance on exports, which in turn made it vulnerable to world markets. Unemployment reached levels not seen since 2003, and the economy fell 8.36% in the fourth quarter of 2008. In response, the government launched a $5.6 billion economic stimulus package, provided financial incentives for businesses, and introduced tax breaks. The stimulus package focused on infrastructure development, small and medium-sized businesses, tax breaks for new investments, and low-income households. Boosting shipments to new overseas markets, such as Russia, Brazil, and the Middle East was also a main goal of the stimulus. The economy has since slowly recovered. By November 2010, Taiwan's unemployment rate had fallen to a two-year low of 4.73%, and continued dropping to a 40-month low of 4.18% by the end of 2011. The average salary has also been rising steadily for each month in 2010, up 1.92% from the same period in 2009. Industrial output for November 2010 reached another high, up 19.37% from a year earlier, indicating strong exports and a growing local economy. Private consumption is also increasing, with retail sales up 6.4% compared to 2009. After 10.5% economic growth in 2010, the World Bank expects growth to continue and reach 5% for 2011. Foreign trade. Foreign trade has been the engine of Taiwan's rapid growth during the past 40 years. Taiwan's economy remains export-oriented, thus it depends on an open world trade regime and remains vulnerable to downturns in the world economy. The total value of trade increased over five-fold in the 1960s, nearly tenfold in the 1970s, and doubled again in the 1980s. The 1990s saw a more modest, slightly less than twofold, growth. Export composition changed from predominantly agricultural commodities to industrial goods. The electronics sector is Taiwan's most important industrial export sector and is the largest recipient of United States investment. Taiwan, as an independent economy, became a member of the World Trade Organization as separate customs territory of Taiwan, Penghu. Kinman and Matsu in January 2002. In a 2011 report by Business Environment Risk Intelligence, Taiwan ranked third best globally for its investment environment. Taiwan is the world's largest supplier of contract computer chip manufacturing and is a leading LCD panel manufacturer, DRAM computer memory, networking equipment, and consumer electronics designer and manufacturer. Major hardware companies include Acer, Asus, HTC, Foxconn and Pegatron. Textiles are another major industrial export sector, though of declining importance due to labor shortages, increasing overhead costs, land prices, and environmental protection. Imports are dominated by raw materials and capital goods, which account for more than 90% of the total. Taiwan imports most of its energy needs. The United States is Taiwan's third largest trading partner, taking 11.4% of Taiwanese exports and supplying 10.0% of its imports. Mainland China has recently become Taiwan's largest import and export partner. In 2010, the mainland accounted for 28.0% of Taiwan's exports and 13.2% of imports. This figure is growing rapidly as both economies become ever more interdependent. Imports from mainland China consist mostly of agricultural and industrial raw materials. Exports to the United States are mainly electronics and consumer goods. As Taiwanese per capita income level has risen, demand for imported, high-quality consumer goods has increased. Taiwan's 2002 trade surplus with the United States was $8.70 billion. The lack of formal diplomatic relations between the Republic of China with Taiwan's trading partners appears not to have seriously hindered Taiwan's rapidly expanding commerce. The Republic of China maintains cultural and trade offices in more than 60 countries with which it does not have official relations to represent Taiwanese interest. In addition to the WTO, Taiwan is a member of the Asian Development Bankers, Taipei, China, and the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum as Chinese Taipei. These developments reflect Taiwan's economic importance and its desire to become further integrated into the global economy. The Economic Cooperation Framework Agreement with the People's Republic of China was signed on 29 June 2010, in Chongqing. It could potentially widen the market for Taiwan's exports. However, the true benefits and impacts brought by ECFA to Taiwan's overall economy are still in dispute. The newly signed agreement will allow for more than 500 products made in Taiwan to enter mainland China at low or no tariffs. The government is also looking to establish trade agreements with Singapore and the United States.